me some ice. Skin me a peach and save the fuzz for my pillow. Poach me a prawns, talk to me nice. You got to wine me anytime. Yeah, I'm getting hungry. Peel me a grape.
I'm Laura Bonicelli, and we are cooking with Italian style. It's not always fast, it's not always easy, and it's not always Italian. We use the freshest and finest ingredients that we can find and afford, and we not only savor the meals we make, but we savor making them. That's cooking with Italian style. This week, we're making a dish that's straight off my solo menu, which means you can have it delivered to your doorstep if you don't feel like making it. It's fresh grilled fish tacos with lime mayo and a tomatilla and a tomato salsa. What a way to start the new year. So, let's get cooking. It is no secret that winters get very long and gray in Minnesota, so I find myself trying to incorporate a lot of color and spice into my menus. So since I'm not in Mexico, I'm going to make the first dish that I go for when I do go to Mexico, which is grilled fish tacos. So I love this recipe because it incorporates a lot of different layers of fresh ingredients and spice that don't overpower the fish but just complement it. So we're going to start with making our lime mayo and marinating our fish. I've put together my ingredients for marinating my fish, and there are two reasons you want to marinate your fish. The first one is, of course, you want to add some flavor to it, so you've got your sambal and your cilantro, adding spice and depth to the flavor of the fish. And then the second reason is it actually deteriorates the fish a little bit, which will make it more tender when you're grilling it. Now the fish I'm using is actually a line-caught mahi-mahi. Check online for sustainable resources. There are a lot of other fishes that will work with this, like a halibut, but you want to make sure that you're using a fish that is sustainable. So what I have in here is a cup of oil and half a cup of chopped cilantro. I use 3 tablespoons of sambal. You can adjust that depending on how much heat you want. A teaspoon and a half of salt and 3 or 4 tablespoons of lime juice again, and that's all about just kind of deteriorating that fish a little bit, just making it a little bit more tender. So I'm going to mix this up pretty well here, cover it with some plastic wrap, and set it in the fridge to marinate for 30 minutes to an hour. So I'm just finishing zesting the peel of my lime. I need about a tablespoon going into the sour cream, which we're going to add into our mayo at the end. Great. So to actually make our mayo, and this really is a mayo. I mean, if I were going to use it on sandwiches, I'd just use a little lemon juice instead of the lime juice. So I have a room temperature egg. I'm just going to dump that right into my blender. And to that, I'm adding teaspoon of dried ground mustard and half a teaspoon each of sugar and salt. So just adding these into the egg. Get this top on here. And I'm going to let these go for a good minute. So slicing into a fresh lime. And then I'm going to squeeze a tablespoon of that juice right into the mayo. Great. Okay, another minute, and now I'll add in my oil. And just a thin stream. Just add it in slowly. And you can hear the blender start to slow down, then you know it is working. Just get the rest of it in here. Okay, and we let that go for another minute. Great, now let's see what we've got. So here's my beautiful mayo. Oh, I can smell that lime, and it's just heavenly. Okay, that into the bowl, and then this is a 1/4 cup of sour cream with a tablespoon of grated lime zest. And I'm just going to mix that up. I'll finish mixing it up, cover it with plastic wrap, set it in the fridge, and then we'll make our salsas. So I'm finishing chopping up my serrano chili for my tomato salsa. Notice I am wearing gloves. That's pretty necessary when you're dealing with these things. They are really hot. And the seeds are really the hot part, so you have to get rid of those and then keep the gloves on while you're chopping. That looks pretty good. Okay. Just get our bowl here and pop that right in. Okay, now I can lose the gloves. So what I have here is a good sized tomato chopped up and some red onion. Notice the color, it is gorgeous, and my serrano chili. And then all I'm doing for this is a little salt for the seasoning and about a teaspoon of white wine vinegar. I wanted to keep this simple because we have a lot of flavors going on with our other stuff. So this is all there is to it. So just mix that up. Very festive. Set that aside. Now for the tomatilla salsa. This is a tomatilla. You can see it has this kind of husk that's a little sticky and difficult to get off. It is a relative of the tomato, and so pretty much from this point on you treat it like a tomato. What I did with that is I took about 10 of them. These are a little large, so you could maybe get by with 8, and I roasted them with 6 green onions, the white part chopped up, and a couple of cloves of garlic. 20 minutes in a 400-degree oven. They get nice and soft. That's exactly what you want. So I let them cool off, and now I'm going to just put them into my food processor. I can smell that garlic. It's great. Okay. In that goes. And then this is the green part of the onion. The green onions chopped. And a teaspoon or so of sambal. You can work on that later if you want more. And then a good squeeze of lime juice and some salt. Put the top on. Just grind it all up. And that is all there is to that. We can add a little more lime juice or salt if you want to. Now we're going to work on our fish. I'm just taking my fish out of the marinade and setting it on a rack on a baking sheet to let some of that oil drain off, which is kind of a nice idea, but especially when you put it on the pan, it'll spatter a lot if it has a lot of oil. Look at this. Even the fish has color with that sambal and the cilantro. So I've got my grill pan at a pretty high heat here, and you do not need to oil the pan because you have oil on the fish already, which we have drained quite a bit of that off, but it's still good to go. Just beautiful. These will only take a couple of minutes. So you can tell these are ready to turn when they start getting opaque and a little flaky, and look at those gorgeous grill marks. Perfect. These only really took about a minute and a half on each side, and they're beautifully grilled and smell fantastic. So I'm going to finish frying up our pan, grilling up all of my fish, and I'm going to put a stack of corn tortillas wrapped in foil in a 350-degree oven to warm them up. Then we'll get this whole thing put together. I have a couple of friends coming over for a make-your-own fish taco party, but before I start plating things up for that, I'm going to make my own fish taco and test this out. So a little bit of my lime mayo, and I'll put some fish on top of that. This just smells absolutely amazing. Okay, now for a little bit of my color and my tomato salsa. And my tomatillo salsa, gorgeous green. And on top of that, I just tossed a little avocado with lime juice and a little salt. And see if I can keep this all together. It's absolutely heavenly. Oh, I can really taste that lime cream. It's just great. Well, I am all set to go. I have my grilled fish, my tomatillo salsa, my fresh tomato salsa, my lime mayo, a little fresh avocado, and my warm corn tortillas. I really hope you enjoy making my grilled fish tacos and cooking with Italian style. Buon appetito!